Hey, I'm your host, Jen Wheeler, and this is the Healthy Her podcast. I'm a teacher, author, and foodie who went from being addicted to sugar, skipping meals, and struggling to get in control of my eating, to someone who is 10 kilos down, eats all the yummy foods without restriction, and is finally in control of my hunger. I'm obsessed with helping other health-conscious women ditch the confusion and overwhelm so they can cultivate healthy eating habits and truly thrive. The Healthy Her podcast was created to give you real talk about healthy eating, as well as easy, actionable tips that fit seamlessly into your busy lifestyle. I'm not just your host. Think of me as your healthy eating hype gal, your personal cheerleader as we chat all things healthy eating, weight loss, and mindset mastery, so you can become the healthiest, happiest version of you. So if you're ready to ditch the guilt, reclaim your confidence, and unlock the very best version of you, then you're in the right place. So let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Healthy Her podcast. Before we jump into today's podcast topic, I have exciting news that I have been bursting to share with you. So when you have your own podcast, there is different platforms. And so you choose a platform that you want your podcast to collect the data through. So basically what that does is you can log in and you can check like how many like streams and how many follows and how many downloads and those things that you have on your podcast. And to be honest with you, like I had never started this podcast for downloads and streams. I just knew that I had a important message that I had to share with you. And that is always my reason behind starting the podcast and also showing up every single week and recording a brand new podcast episode for you. But I went into the podcast platform. And like I said, I know some people like religiously check these things. I'm just, like I said, that's not my why. That's not my reason for being here. But anyway, I was in there recently and a little banner has popped up with a message, and the Healthy Her podcast has hit 50,000 downloads, which is just mind-blowing and insane. And the podcast is now listened to in multiple countries around the world, literally places I've never even heard of. So I just want to say a massive thank you for being a part of the Healthy Her community. I adore you. I'm so grateful to have you here because I know how busy you are and how much stuff you are juggling and how much you've got going on in your life. So the fact that you tune in and join me each week for a podcast episode means the absolute world. So I just want to say a huge thank you for all of the love and support. And if you haven't already, don't forget to give the podcast 5 stars, share it with a friend, leave a review. It helps me out so much, and your feedback and your comments always mean the world to me. So the Healthy Her, 50,000 downloads, which is just insane. So I just want to say a huge thank you for all of your support. All right, let's jump into today's podcast episode because I know that you as a busy woman are busy and you are juggling all the things and you do not have lots of time. So in today's podcast episode, I'm going to be sharing with you the simple 6-step weekly planning system that I use for easy dinners without relying on motivation. So it's just 6 simple steps to get a healthy dinner on the table every single night at home when you are tired, you're exhausted, you're burnt out, and you just want a plan and a process that is simple and easy. And I just want to start by saying that I have tried a lot of different methods, like lots. Like I've tried intense meal planning and intense meal prepping, and like I've tried lots of different things, and it's come down to these 6 things, and it's the things that I do religiously each week. And I know as women, one of the biggest problems that we have is that we way overcomplicate this stuff. We think it has to be fancy and hard, but in reality, I found the simple stuff done repeatedly over time is what works, and it's what works for the long term because it's something that I can do, I can stick to. It doesn't take me hours. It's easy. It's simple. And so that's why I want to share this simple meal planning dinner system with you today. Now, I want you to ask yourself, have you heard yourself saying this? What is for dinner? What am I going to eat for dinner? What am I going to make for dinner? And you're just too tired to cook. Like your brain is just completely and utterly exhausted. And you're like, what am I going to have for dinner? Or your partner's asking what's for dinner. Or your kids are like, Mom, what's for dinner? And you it's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's just that you're stuck in this daily decision loop. It's like, well, what's for dinner? There's the exhaustion. And it's actually just draining more energy than the cooking itself. And that is something I came to realize a little while ago. I was like, it's not actually the cooking. It's not the physical cooking of standing in the kitchen and cooking. That's the hard part. And I've literally had this conversation with my own children. I'm like, it's actually the thought that goes into it. It's planning out the meals. It's making sure that you've written those things on the shopping list. It's making sure that you've gone to the shops prior to making that dinner and that you've got everything that you need. The actual cooking of the meal is the easy part in this process. Okay, so what we need to do is to sort of short circuit that decision-making part and make that a really simple system that you can follow each week in order to make quick, easy, healthy dinners that you will enjoy and also that your family will enjoy too. And I just want to be really clear on this one because I remember for the longest time beating myself up because I didn't want to make healthy dinner. Like I was just over it. I didn't know what to have, or we'd had that already and I just couldn't come up with something new. And I remember just thinking, well, like it shouldn't be this hard. Like what's wrong with me? Like, am I just too tired? Do I need to go to bed early? Like, why can't I figure out this dinner thing? And I just want to remind you that it is coming up with things every single night that is exhausting. And the problem is as women, you carry a massive mental load every single day, huge mental load. And I truly believe it's not recognized enough, the mental load that today's busy woman carries every single day. And what that means is that from the second that you wake up to the second that you get home at the end of the day, or whether it's around that sort of 5 o'clock time where everyone wants dinner and kids need to be showered and there's sports and all these kind of things, you get to that point and you're exhausted. Your brain is physically and mentally and you are just emotionally tapped out, and you have made 1,000 tiny decisions throughout the day. And not only for that day that you're in, but also for, oh, you've got to get a birthday present for someone on the weekend, and I need to get a new pair of soccer socks for my son. And it's all this stuff that women carry in our brains all day, every day. And we make these teeny tiny decisions. And that is the problem. That is the problem that you have when it gets to dinner time, is that you are mentally exhausted from making decisions. And the thought of having to physically make one more damn decision about what to eat for dinner is just too much. And that's why you're like, oh, okay, just throw some nuggets in the oven. Let's just get a pizza takeaway, because you're just mentally exhausted. So I just want to remind you that you're not weak. You're not a failure. You're not like, you don't lack willpower. It's just that you're exhausted. You're exhausted from making those billions and billions of decisions all day long, so that by the time nighttime comes, you're done. You just don't want to make another decision. You just want to sit on the couch, have a shower, and just switch off for the rest of the night. So I'm going to share with you exactly what I do instead. So this is my foolproof busy gal planning method to get a healthy dinner on the table in minutes. It doesn't require strict rules. There's no complicated meal preps. There's no hours of cooking in the kitchen. It's simple, it's streamlined, and it's one that you can actually repeat easily each week, which is why I personally love it, because it means that it's something that I'm going to stick to. And I want to share with you, I was watching, doing a bit of doom scrolling the other day on TikTok, and I was scrolling and this woman popped up, and she must have been in her 40s or 50s. And she was basically on there saying, she said, I think she said she was like 46 or something. And she said, I don't care what I eat for dinner ever again. That's what she was saying. She's like, I literally do not care what I have for dinner for the rest of my life. Like she said, I've spent so many years organizing dinner for everyone. She's like, I don't care. She's like, I don't care if it's a nibbly plate. She's like, I don't care if it's a bowl of cereal. Like she's like, I just don't care what I have for dinner. And I felt seen. Like I could totally relate to that, because I'm the same. My kids will come to me and like, what's for dinner? I'm like, I really don't care. Like it's just not that important. But what I found is if I don't have something organized and if I don't know what we're having, that's where everything falls apart. And it comes back to that having a system. You have to have a system to catch you when you fall. All right. And that's what meal planning does. If you don't meal plan something, what happens is you either get takeaway or you significantly increase your stress load, because you're then rushing to the shop after work, wandering around the aisles mindlessly going, oh, what can we have? Oh, no, we had that last night. And then someone's whinging about not wanting to eat that. And then you're like, oh, just, And then you rush home and then you try to cook something and then that pushes your evening back, before you can relax. And it just has this knock-on effect, and if you're doing that every single night, that can be really full on and just an unnecessary, stressful night that you have to experience every single night. And it can be simple and easy and straightforward. But yeah, like I said, totally related to this woman on TikTok, and I'm sure that you can too. Just that as women, we're like, I really don't care what I have for dinner because I'm sick of working out, what to have for dinner. And it's something that they don't tell you when you become a mother and a wife. It's like, well, you're in charge of deciding what we have for dinner for the rest of your life. And it's certainly not a job that we would have put our hands up for or that we enjoy. That is for sure. So here it is. This is my exact 6-step meal planning proven system to get an easy, healthy dinner together without relying on motivation. And here's the truth. I used to think that I just couldn't stick with something, like I couldn't stick with a meal plan, I couldn't stick with a program, but all I actually needed was just to make it easier for myself. That's it. Like I was thinking I don't have willpower, I don't have motivation, and I just needed a simple system to make actually having a healthy dinner each week easier to do. So these are my 6-step systems, I guess you could say. So I've sort of broken them down into little systems because I feel like systems is a better word, because otherwise it's a system. It's something that's there to catch you when you fall. So system 1, repeat the same meals per fortnight. Okay. So you'll have the same 11 or 12 meals that you will repeat over a fortnightly period. All right. Why? Because I like eating them. My kids like eating them. No one complains about eating them. And you don't need to make a new meal every single night. Rinse and repeat what is actually working for you in your family and in your household. This is not boring. This is smart. So repeat the same meals every fortnight. So have a fortnightly rotation of meals and throw in all of your family favorites. And everyone's different. We don't particularly like a lot of hot and spicy and chili and those kind of foods, probably to having kids and those kind of things, whereas other people love curries and chilies and those kind of, more authentic inspired meals and things like that with lots of spice and things. But you can have whatever your favorite meals are. If you want to have tacos, put that in every week. Choose those meals and have them on a fortnightly rotation because it is smart. And the cool thing is if you go, oh yeah, but Jen, what if I get bored? Just mix up that fortnightly rotation. Go, okay, we're a bit sick of those. Let's change it up and we'll use these ones. And you look back now in hindsight, and if you think about it to when your mum used to make meals for you at home, she cooked the same things. And for some reason, it's become not okay to do that anymore. It's like, no, you have to have a fresh new recipe and you have to be trying something new every night. No, you don't. You can have the same meals and you can repeat them every fortnight because it's smart. It will save you time. It will save you stress and it will also save you decision fatigue. So repeating those same meals every single fortnight is my system 1 in my meal planning process. System 2, prep ingredients, not full meals. So this will allow you some flexibility with your time and also with your meal prep. And I remember getting stuck down this rabbit hole when I first got into wanting to improve my health and my wellness, and I was on social media and I was scrolling and I'm, seeing all these people and they're making everything from scratch. And I was like, well, I need to do that too. I want to be a healthy girl. So I need to prep and cook and make everything from scratch. My sauces and my pasta sauces and all of my snacks, every single thing had to be made from scratch. And I'm not going to lie, what happened? I burnt out. I burnt out really, really quickly because I was literally spending hours in the kitchen trying to cook everything from scratch. And it just wasn't something that I could do long term and also that I could maintain. So what I do now is I prep ingredients and not always full meals. So what I mean by that is it might be that I'm going to, the night before, I might marinate some chicken. So I'll get some chicken breast, chop it up, put it in a glass container and pour over, let's say we'll go with teriyaki, and I'll pour it over and I'll do a teriyaki marinade. Now, what that then allows me to do is it gives me some flexibility because I don't have to have a set meal from that. From that marinated chicken, we can make burrito bowls. I can do a pasta. I can have lots and gyros or wraps and those kind of things. There are so many things that I can make just using that marinated chicken, and it gives me that flexibility with my dinner. So this is a really great one if you're someone that likes, oh, but I don't like to eat the same thing and da 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 da. Marinate meat. Just prep your ingredients and don't prep the full meals. And also too, prepping those ingredients can be as simple as we're going to have a bolognese for dinner, so I'm going to make sure that that mince that's in the freezer is in the fridge, and while I'm out for the day or while I'm at work or while I'm running errands, that it's in the fridge and it's actually defrosting, so that when I get home, there's an extra 10 minutes that you've saved because you're not having to wait for the meat to defrost in the microwave. So number 2, prep ingredients and try and avoid having to think that you've got to prep for full meals, because it will make your life a whole lot easier and, like I said, allow you that flexibility that you want. System number 3. I have been doing this one for a while and it's probably one of my favorites. Cuisine nights or meal-focused nights. This makes your life as a busy woman who is trying to eat healthy and show up for herself easier. Have cuisine nights or have meal-focused nights. Now, what I mean by that is it might be Monday is your meat and 3 veg night. So you can have steak, you could have chicken, you could have fish and 3 vegetables. Done. That's what we have on Mondays. That's what we have every single Monday. Tuesday might be Italian. So that's where you have pasta, nachos, and that can be your focus for Tuesday. Wednesday can be Asian night, and that's where you're having stir fries, fried rice. Thursday, this is a favorite of mine. I call it the dump dinner. And I remember the first time I said that to my kids, they're like, well, what are we having for dinner? And I said, we're having a dump dinner. And they went, what is that? A dump dinner. And I find it works really well, like sort of towards the end of the week, like a Thursday or a Friday, you know, when you're due to go for a grocery shop. And I will put together plates of dinner from what is floating around in the freezer. And I call it the dump dinner. So quite often you can actually build a really quick, healthy meal just by scrounging around all the bits of the half open packet of peas, and you know, you might have a little bit of leftover pasta from the other week and there might be some marinated chicken left over. You can actually build a healthy meal quite quickly using a dump dinner and just pulling out bits and pieces from the freezer. So that's a new one that you can add to your rotation, is having a dump dinner. And like I said, have it towards the end of the week when you are due to food shop or grocery shop or head to the supermarket, because it's also a really good one just to clean out your freezer and get rid of all those little bits, you know, that we just never end up using. And Friday night for us is always a fake away. So it's usually a Friday night fake away. So I will make burgers or I will make loaded fries, something like that. So having cuisine nights or meal-focused nights is so, so helpful as a busy woman. And something as well that I've really, really found is that it does help with all of those questions that you get from your kids about what's this and what are we eating tonight and what's for dinner tomorrow, because kids just seem to be so focused on food all the time. Like, what's the next snack? What's for dinner? What are we eating next? What's for dinner tomorrow? Whereas as busy women, it's really not something that's important to us and something that's not on our radar. But kids seem to be uber focused on this stuff. So having cuisine nights or meal focused nights, and like I said, write it up, pop it on a magnet or a whiteboard or something on your fridge so that your kids know that. And it does help to reduce and significantly limit all of those questions that you get harassed with about what's for dinner, what are we eating, what are we going to have, because the kids are like, okay, well, we know that it's, you know, it's fake away night, so I'll probably have a burger or something, or we know that it's dump dinner, so I know that, you know, mum's going to get everything out of the freezer and put something together on a plate. So it does help to reduce your stress overall because you're not having to fend off those questions every 5 minutes about what's for dinner.
If you're like me and you have a busy life and you want to start your day successfully, which for me is a high protein breakfast, I love using the Real Nourish products. Their pancake bake or their crumble are my favorite. Like, no brainer. There's nothing that comes close to these products. You literally make them in minutes, and when they're cooked, they make 3 generous serves. So you eat it feeling like a queen, like you are full, your belly is satiated, and you are ready to start the day. And the last thing you're going to be doing is thinking about food for a few hours. That is for sure.
All right, system number 4. This has helped me a lot. And I made the mistake of once, you know, you're working through the week, so you've got Monday to Friday, and I would leave everything until the weekend. And then what do you do on the weekend? You spend your entire weekend cooking, cleaning, tidying, meal planning, all of those things. And then Monday rolls around and you're like, oh my gosh, where did the weekend go? And I didn't even have a break. So I was like, I can't do this anymore. This is not going to work for me. So system 4 is to create a routine around how dinner gets from the grocery store to your table. So if you don't have a system as from how it gets to the grocery store to your dinner table, that's probably one of the first things that you want to look at and that you want to fix. So what I mean by that, if your system is finish work at 5:30 every night, drive to the local supermarket, wander around for half an hour thinking, what am I going to make? Changing your mind 10 times. Your kids are whinging at you. You get to the checkout. You're cooking dinner at like 7, 8 o'clock. You're not getting to bed till later because your whole night routine. If that's your plan to get your dinner from the grocery store or the supermarket to your dinner table, that's not going to work for you. If you are doing that every single night, you must be physically and emotionally exhausted from doing that every single night at the end of your day. Whether you're a stay-at-home mum, whether you're at work, whatever it is, if you're doing that every single night, that is not a plan and it's not going to work long term. And I can guarantee you that majority of nights you're probably going to want to throw some nuggets in the oven or get a takeaway pizza. And I know if I was doing that every single night, that's what I would be doing because I'm too tired. I don't have time for that at the end of the day. I'm exhausted. So you have to start to create a routine or a plan around how your dinner gets from the supermarket or the grocery store to your table. And I want to share mine with you today. So yours can be the same as mine. It might look a little bit different to mine, but I just want to show you how having that routine and a weekly system is going to change your life when it comes to getting those quick, easy, healthy dinners on the table. So for me, Wednesday, I will meal plan dinners for the following week. I don't worry about the weekends. I just do Monday to Friday. So Wednesday, meal plan dinners. I can use one of my ActiveBoard meal planners. You can purchase these also too from my website. I've got the big A3 one and also the smaller one for planning your family dinners. The bigger one's better for like if you're wanting to, make sure you're hitting your protein and your fats and those kind of things. It's set out in a specific way so it can really help you to target those things, whereas the smaller A4 planner is really great for planning out your family dinners. And like I said, don't overcomplicate it. Don't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple. Right, Monday, we're having meat and 3 veg. We're going to have some chicken schnitzel's Monday and 3 veg. That's Monday. Okay, Tuesday is Italian night, so I'm going to make a spaghetti bolognese. I'm going to make sure there's lots of lean mince in there for the protein, and I'm going to add some grated carrot and zucchini. So that will be my meal for Tuesday. Like it should literally take you 10 minutes, really, really quick. And remember, we're repeating those meals every fortnight. So that should save you a lot of time as well. So Wednesday, meal plan those dinners. And sometimes it might be something that I'm doing, like while I'm waiting at sport practice or, before I'm putting a load of washing on, or it might be in my lunch break or like whatever it is, you can find 10 minutes on that Wednesday to plan your dinners. And then Thursday, I shop. So I write down my list and I shop and make sure that I have those things that I need. It is really, really important that you don't ever not have a plan. A plan will save you time and it will also save you money and extra trips to the shops every single night at the end of the day because you don't know what you're having for dinner. Okay? You just need a plan. That's it. And for me, this is really simple. Wednesday, plan my dinners, write the shopping list. Thursday, I go to the shops. And then I know that, when the weekend rolls around, that the dinners are sorted for the following week. And it just significantly reduces that mental load, not only on the weekends, but also of a weeknight because I'm not having to think about what we're going to eat every single night. And I just repeat that process. So, number 4, big one. If you don't have a routine from how you're going to get your meals, your dinners from the grocery store to your table, now is the time to come up with a system. And like I said, don't be a Jen and do what I did and do the whole, just wait till the weekend. I really found breaking up those little tasks throughout the week made my weekends a lot more enjoyable and a lot more less stressful because I wasn't trying to cram in everything on a weekend that I'd completely ignored during the week. System number 5. This one is a game changer. You need to decide what's for dinner at 8 p.m. the day before. I'm going to say that one again for you. You need to decide what is for dinner at 8 p.m. the day before. So today The podcast goes out every Tuesday, okay? So if you're listening to this on a Tuesday, tonight you need to work out what you're having for dinner tomorrow. You're not working out what you're having for dinner tomorrow or after work or at the end of sport practice or, after you've done your kids' homework or after Pilates class. You need to decide 8 p.m. the day before, all right? It is a game changer. It just reduces that decision fatigue and that mental load if you decide what is for dinner. You don't have to do anything else. You can just be like, right, check your meal plan. Go, okay, we're going to have tacos tomorrow night. Great. Have I got some mince? Yep. Okay, I'll put that in the fridge and that's going to sit there and defrost while I'm out for the day. If you have decided the following night, it's too late. It is too late and you are going to significantly struggle and find it extremely difficult to make a healthy choice because your brain is exhausted and it does not want to make another decision. You must decide what is for dinner the night before and it will significantly help you. And this is the stuff that no one tells you. No one told me this. No one said, you know what, there's some really simple things that you can actually do to make healthy eating easier as a busy woman. Do that. Make sure. So at 8 o'clock, set a timer on your phone. Right, what's for dinner tomorrow night? Have I taken the meat out? Have I put something in the fridge? Have I chopped the veggies that I need? And like I said, not prepping full meals, we're just prepping some of the ingredients. Have I done that? It's 5 or 10 minutes. It's 5 or 10 minutes that will give you back an hour the next day. Like it has a really big knock-on effect. All of these simple little things really do give you a lot of time back the next day. And if you start to implement these things regularly, you will really start to notice that. And you'll also start to notice that stress and that overwhelm and that dinner fatigue at nighttime is really going to start to reduce itself. And my last system in my foolproof, proven 6-step meal planning system. System number 6, front load your healthy meals. So what that means is don't start Monday with a takeaway. You're just setting yourself up for success. So number 6 is you need to front load your healthy meals at the start of the week because what this will do is it will allow you some flexibility towards the end of the week. So make sure, and I always do this, like I always make sure that like those first few meals of the week are super healthy, high protein, lots of vegetables, heaps of fiber, all of that kind of stuff. And then by the time the end of the week rolls around and it's Thursday, Friday, and I'm starting to get tired and the kids are tired and everyone's tired, I can back off a bit. And then it's like, okay, well, we'll have Friday night fakeaway and we'll have burgers. Or I'll just make some like fish and chips at home, or I'll do some loaded fries or nachos, whatever it is. So a really, really simple thing is just to front load your healthy meals at the start of the week. And that will allow you some flexibility at the end to, like I said, get a takeaway or make a fakeaway or have some flexibility at the end of the week. Now, I have a bonus tip for you. So I know there's 6 and there is 6 and these are the 6 that I do every single week, but here is a bonus tip. Involve your kids in the process. Involve them. Sit them down and go, right, we're going to repeat the same meals. What are your favorites? We've got to make sure that they're healthy and that they've got some protein and some vegetables and all those things in it. Involve them. Or give them each a night that they get to choose, that like what the cuisine is that night, because one of your kids might love pasta and someone else loves something else. Get them involved in the process. Kids need to know this stuff. Kids need to be taught this stuff. It is alarmingly shocking the number of teenage children now that don't know how to make something as simple as like scrambled eggs on toast. No clue, literally zero, or know how to wash a dish because they have always used a dishwasher. Like really, really simple skills that our kids need in order to be independent human beings in the future. So really involve the kids in this planning process as much as you can. And like I said, in turn, it will reduce that whole what's for dinner and I don't like that and can we have this instead? If they're involved in the process, they feel more confident, they take ownership, and then there's less complaints in the long term. So honestly, these 6 systems have changed my life, okay? They have significantly reduced that dinner stress for me every single night. I don't find dinner stressful anymore. I don't end my day and, start the whole process of what's for dinner and do I have the ingredients and I need to go to the shop or the supermarket and try and find something to eat and then someone's complaining about this. And I don't have that anymore because everyone knows what we're having. That's what we're having. I've either got my protein and my meat out in the fridge defrosting or I might have chopped up some vegetables and I feel calm. I don't feel overwhelmed. I don't feel stressed about dinner. I'm not like, oh my gosh, what are we going to have for dinner tonight? And everything just feels calmer. It's less loud, it's quieter, it's calmer. And, there's no more fights about what's for dinner and what we're going to have and someone doesn't like this and all that kind of thing. So definitely recommend giving this 6-step system a go for planning out your healthy dinners every single week. And you don't need motivation because these things literally take you all of about 5 or 10 minutes. I hope you found this podcast episode of The Healthy Her really, really helpful, and it's given you lots of tips. And like I said, even if you go, okay, well, I'm just going to try 2 of them this week, or I'm going to try system 6 of front loading my healthy meals. Like, they're all really simple things that can significantly impact how your week runs and how you feel at dinner time. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you all in our next podcast episode. Thank you so much for tuning in to another empowering episode of the Healthy Her podcast. If you enjoyed today's chat and found it helpful, hitting that follow or subscribe button would be amazing because your support means the world to me. Come connect with me on Instagram @TheActiveBod for your daily dose of inspiration and for loads of new easy meal ideas. Take care and keep thriving. See you next week.